around Atlas again, Will here, and today we have a little bit of a project to do. Fun part about schoolie life, if you drive an international or even use one for occupational purposes, along the duty life, I guess you'd call it, of these internationals being used, a lot of them being, bigger turbo diesel motors. They have a lot of vibration to them, or if you have a dump truck or something like that, they're just subject to a lot of vibration, and over time, some people or a lot of people will notice that the dash will intermittently stop and start working. So if you're thinking about buying a bus to convert or anything like that, just know that if you have dash problems, it's not the end of the world. Hopefully this video will help some people out, because my dash is actually doing the same thing. Lately, it's either been hit or miss. It takes a lot of convincing to get working, or it won't work at all. So I'm either in a position to where I can send it, try to fix it myself with a soldering iron. After some research that I've done, I think I have a pretty good idea of how to get this working again, or I'm in a spot to where I need to buy a new dash regardless. So it just makes more sense to spend, this was about 40 bucks, this Weller, medium duty, 5 to 40 watt, up to 900 degrees, soldering iron. It comes with a little sponge table. It's variable heat. I have a little bit of experience with soldering, but not enough to feel confident with like a one temperature kind of ordeal. And I don't want to burn the circuit board back here, because that's what you're going to be soldering on, which we'll get to in a second, because we're going to go back here to the fun stuff. You'll also need some solder. I have 6040 lead bearing rosin core solder, so you won't really need to use flux, but because there's flux actually in the center of this type of solder. So after you do the soldering though, you'll need an alcohol wipe to clean up your work. So you'll need a Phillips head screwdriver to take this cover off, and we'll start getting into it from there. So that's the first thing I'm gonna do. Up and out of the way, and now you'll notice that it is indeed soldered to the board. So I don't think that we'll be able to, yes, the board feels like it's adhered to the actual plastic. So what we can do is try going through the front, seeing if we can't pop one of these like the tack plate or the miles per hour. It seems like, hang on. Okay, so we're gonna go under this green one. As from what I've read, I think this is the main connection, and sometimes underneath of this, where all these prongs are, they'll get faulty and won't be making connection, because vibration will end up cracking the solder and it won't be making very good contact with the rest of the wiring harness, which will cause the dash to fail. Oh gosh, sorry guys. So on top of here, there's 3 screws. One of mine's cracked, so I only have 2. We can take this off. Under here, yeah, you'll see there's no screws on the bottom, just a couple on the top that hold that bracket in place. There's 2 Velcro pads on the bottom. You can just kind of separate. Just be gentle with it, take your time. You're not in a rush when it comes to something like this. The last time I rushed, I ended up cracking this plate here at the top. Gotta hear the plastic rattling around in there still. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is, oh my goodness, none of these are even in place. I can spin it all around. Yep, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to unbox the soldering kit, get the solder out, kind of get ready for the next process, clean clean the workspace up. You're going to want to keep all 6 of these screws in a pile, and the couple of screws that you took off that I already lost of the top. My goodness, it happens that quickly. Oh, here they are. Yeah, definitely want to keep those separate. Okay, so I will be right back with everything set up. Alright, so now that we have the soldering iron set up and the solder unwrapped and everything like that, what we're going to do is we're going to try to go into the front of the dash. And let me find a pocket knife. Now it looks like right under your tabs here you have a little bit of a lip. And what I'm going to do, probably use a flathead screwdriver for this. It'll probably come off a little easier, but you just kind of wedge it in there. Let's try to just lift it out. I don't see any other lift tabs to help it come out. So, and the reason we're lifting this is my battery gauge and my fuel gauge right above it. We're trying to get to this green tab under here. So I think by just taking maybe these 2 off, maybe the fuel gauge, I haven't decided yet. We'll just see what it looks like when we get underneath of there and then make a call. So just gently try to take that out. It's coming up ever so slowly. There we go. Just be careful when you take it out because the gauges have a whole bunch of copper wiring under them as far as I can see. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Try to bring it over here. You can see those copper bits underneath a little bit. So just be careful that your screwdriver doesn't slip down and run into one of those. So we'll put this off to the side. And I don't know if you can see down into it. Let me see if I can get this. I have a GoPro here. That's what it'll look like. Right about there. And you can see, maybe, I don't know how well you can see it with this, but over here in the center is kind of where we need to be. You can see some of those contacts. So let's go ahead and see if we can't do the same thing with the miles gauge. It doesn't look like this even has a tab anymore. Okay. So that looks maybe like a whole separate can of worms. Or like someone's been in there before. It doesn't have a glass casing or anything like that over it. But it has a tab slot behind this little bit of Velcro right there, so that makes me wonder. Whoops, well, that just came off. Makes me wonder if this can come out too. Show you guys what's going on. Okay. So, all right. In here, let me find my finger. You see those 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can see the 1, 2, 3 to the left. it seems like those are the contacts that we're looking for on the back of this green plug right there. Okay, you probably didn't see it, that green plug. So we'll bring it back forward, and I'll try to get some good macro shots of it, but we'll see how it goes. I gotta look at the actual contacts to see if they really need resoldering. Some of them look kind of warped, but in all honesty, man, they don't look too bad. I see a couple. Alright, so here's that close-up angle that I want to show you guys. It seems like the contacts start at TP66 and then it goes down to TP35, shoots all the way down to the bottom where the volt gauge is, down to, I think this is TP88 or TP89. And you'll notice, it's kind of hard for me to point with my fingers, but there's this outside line of contacts, and there's also, which is going to be super fun to try to solder, these inside, and it's kind of hard to see on the bottom because the ring for the volt gauge is in the way. I'll try to lower that. See, you can kind of see them back there. There's a couple at the bottom here that seem to have like a loose seat on them. It looks like the solder's starting to crack, so I'm probably going to do that anyway. But to throw it in there for even more fun, I might actually take the oil gauge off, the water temp gauge, the RPMs, and see if I can maybe get the hours gauge out. I might not mess with the two rolling gauges because I don't want to mess anything up as far as those are concerned, even though they don't work right now, I'm assuming. So, but I want to see how the contacts look for, sorry guys, for the other two plugs as well. So we're going to start with So, next thing to do would be to start going for it. Start putting some new solder on the ones that I think could use it. And then tomorrow we will be going to the bus to test it all out. And hopefully we have some luck with it. And then you guys can maybe do this with yours and your dash will work again, because it would really suck to buy another one, or it's going to suck to buy another one. We'll find out. So I am back at the bus, and this is the green terminal. It's going to go in the middle. I put some dielectric grease on there. I don't know if you can see it. And right side, and then you have your third one over here. That's your left side. So what I'm going to do really quick is I'm going to hook my batteries up. So I've had them charging, and we will fire this thing up and see if it works. All right, I got the batteries all hooked up. About to put the key in.
Wrong key. That's for the door.
I put the wrong key in.
Yes.
Hopefully this works. And it looks like they're kind of working. My temp gauge looks like it got stuck. So far, I'll do a driving test as well, and we'll go from there and see how she does. See if I can get it to move. driving test next. Alright, this is the drive portion of it. We'll see how she does. So far, so good. So. So if you are anywhere decent with a soldering iron, I barely have any experience like I said before, you can do this as well. So, till next time.